Today we are going to be talking about sort of a like what not to say situation, a common mistake that parents make, and what to say instead. I hope this is helpful. So, a lot of times, what happens is your child's doing something you don't want them to do, and our first reaction is, don't do that, whatever it is. I think a lot of parents don't say, don't do that, but you might say, don't run in the street, or don't run, or don't hit your sister, or don't pull the dog's tail, or whatever it is that you want them to stop doing. And the problem with this is that the human brain does not process the word not. So, what that means is if I say to you, don't think of a pink elephant, what's the first thing that comes to your mind, right? You make an image in your mind of a pink elephant, and then you have to undo it and not think about it. And the same is true for children. If you say, don't run in the street, their first image that comes to their mind is running in the street. So they have to sort of process that and then understand what you mean when you say don't do it. So it just makes it a lot trickier for your message to get across and a lot less likely that your child is going to actually do the thing you want them to do, which is to walk, for example. So in that example, the running in the street example, if your child is sort of getting ready to charge out into the street, or they let go of your hand and start running ahead, instead of saying don't run, you can say walk next to me and hold my hand so that I can keep you safe. Walk next to me and hold my hand so I can keep you safe. Isn't that so much lovelier, too, that it communicates a message of safety and concern to your child? It communicates to them that they are protected by you, and that if they stay next to you and if they hang on to your hand, that they will be safe. And that is a message that the little human brain, the little developing human brain, really wants to hear a lot, is that they'll be safe. And so if they know that if they hold your hand, they'll be safe, they're going to love that message, even if they're excited to run ahead, right? But if they know, if I hold mama's hand or if I hold daddy's hand, I'm going to be safe, they're going to love that message. And it's so much easier for them to imagine, like they can kind of draw up a picture in their head of what it looks and feels like to hold your hand and use their walking feet, or make their feet walk instead of running. So other examples of this might be, instead of don't hit the baby, don't slap the baby, if you want to touch the baby, you can touch her gently like this, and you take their hand and you show them what gentle touching looks and feels like. And this really does help children to understand what's expected of them. It helps them understand what it is you want from them and what's appropriate behavior and they're sort of by default what's not appropriate behavior. But if you always are focusing on, hi Ashley, if you're always focusing on what you don't want to see, they're going to be focused on that, and they're not going to know what to do instead, right? So I think it's really important to remember that because we've been on the planet for a really long time, we know that if someone says, don't do that, we can kind of imagine what to do instead. But children need to be taught and shown and told repeatedly what to do instead. What is the behavior you want them to do instead? And this forces you as a parent to think about, well, what is it that I want them to do instead? Your impulse is like, well, I just don't want them to run, right? But it's really important that they know what they're supposed to do instead, because if their impulse is to run, they're going to need something to replace that behavior with, or to replace that impulse with. If you have other examples of when this has worked for you, when you've told your child exactly what you do want to see from them and it's worked, I would love to hear your story in the comments. Or if you have questions about how this might work in your particular situation, let me know that in the comments as well. We'd love to connect with you and help you out with this one. It's a simple little tweak, but it can really go a long way. I hope you all have a wonderful week.